All right, welcome to the New Jersey Mycological Association's Taxonomy Tuesday. It's May 27th, 2025, where we meet weekly and share observations of significant finds and get help on identification of species that we found for the week. So if you have anything to share, put your name in the chat so I can add you to the queue. And we have one person who sent an email, Hunter, to the Taxonomy Tuesday email. So Hunter, do you want to start us off?
Sure I could. It's not very exciting. I've had to attend to not fun things for a while now, so I'm just happy to have something. But yeah, we can look at it. I think it's Gymnopus dryophilus, and I just kind of wanted confirmation on it. It's got really I should have it in all stages, but it has really, really crowded gills.
Are you seeing the mushroom? Am I sharing the right screen?
Yeah, I'm just seeing one though,
Okay.
that one picture so far.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and so here's all stages. And the gills are so very crowded. But I think this is what this is. Although it says the smell's like not distinctive, and I think it's very distinctive. I think it smells the same way shiitake does to me, which people say smell like caramel, but I don't think they smell like caramel at all. And I can't even describe it, but I don't actually like it. At any rate, here's a spore print, white spores, so that would be in line with it. And that's all I got, and I just found it today, and that's all I'm sharing tonight.
Can we see the shot of the stipe again? Maybe that group shot where you can see the stipes real good.
These ones seem to have that like flatness almost up at the top of the stipe where it meets the cap.
Yeah.
That's a pretty picture.
Mm-hmm.
I like dropping the spores across the multiple slides too.
Yeah, that's kind of my technique. And I had a question about microscopy. What size slide covers are people using? I think maybe I would do better with larger slide covers. They're pretty small. They're not the width of the slide by any means. I should say the height of the slide. Like when you're looking at it horizontally, they're much smaller than that. Is there a preferred slide cover size that people like?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go run downstairs and I'm gonna go see what size mine are.
Okay. I can grab mine too, but I'm aware there are bigger ones. I'm pretty sure when I was at a foray and did got some microscopy help, the slide covers were a bit larger, and I'm thinking that might help me a lot with the process, which I struggle with immensely. I will say more about the microscopy. I did try to do a gill, and it did fit the I think it fit the quote description of what you can see on the chylocystidia on the edge of the gill, and that's kind of like a lot of I want to say branching, but he did not use that word. But my slice was clearly not thin enough. So there were so many kind of layers of these structures that, and they were very faintly outlined. And so I didn't even bother to try to get a shot, and I was rushing, but it did seem to fit the description of the Chylocystidia as well, that I read for Gymnopus, dryophilus, and I just went there right away though, so I might be jumping the gun. Maybe there is something else it could be. So I just kind of wanted confirmation, or maybe I'm completely wrong and should be looking somewhere else. It is flat, that stipe.
What was the habitat?
Definitely oak woodlands. I mean, predominant trees are oak and then some hickory, but this was probably, I think if we back up, we can see the log or stump, it was kind of growing. But can we zoom in on that a little bit? Well, there's clearly oak leaves right there. It's kind of hard, that wood's so decayed, but there's no kind of, well, that's not completely true, but it's a predominantly oak woodland.
Did you happen to look at Gymnopus confluens?
No, I didn't, and thank you. Does that sound like a better guess, you think? Better?
Well, it looks more like what I find up here that I call that. One of the things, not only is it clustered in a little group, but also the stem looks a little bit fuzzy. Yeah, see that second picture down looks a whole lot more like what you have.
Yeah,
Okay.
Susan, I agree with confluence is a better ID, mostly because dryophilus, the thing that we were just looking at, no part of it seemed greasy in any way,
Yeah.
you know, and dryophilus pretty much always has some kind of greasy cap, and the stem has more of a translucent gymnopus thing going on.
Okay, well, this is good, good. The one other thing, so Quo's description does not include spores, and I mean, although I only had one, I think this looks like the spores that I was seeing. It would be nice to see the dryophilus ones, because I mean, I could see a lot more spores, but there was like, I could see like 100 at a time, and I know I'm not supposed to. I know I need to do better than that. So that was like the only one I could kind of isolate from a mass of them. Because that's the thing when you put the spore print on the slides like that. I mean, I did scrape it off onto another slide, but it was still so dense.
Sometimes I
call that
like to.
spore print creamy white. I always thought creamy white to have a bit of a more brown hue to it. That looks pretty much pure white to me, but
Creamy white, good point. And if we look at if we can go to the quotes, or compare does he have the Chylocystidia here for this one? Because they were more, yeah, okay, the picture in the dryophilus looked more like what I was seeing that he has, but I don't know, maybe we could just take a quick look at that.
I'll look at what?
At the Gymnopus dryophilus. Oh, wow, and that does react to something, I see. But if you go down to the, oh, wow. Yeah, so, I mean, I kind of thought maybe the Chylocystidia were more branching like you see here, but they were all on top of each other, so it was hard to tell. But more so than what this looks like, the confluence. But what does the smell say? Not distinct, or this one, not distinctive. Does the confluence have very reminiscent of onions? And see, I wouldn't say that. That's interesting. Maybe I should try a drop of KOH on the cap. Is there a KOH reaction in the confluence? Kind of the same. Okay. Okay, maybe I won't then, that won't help. All right, well, it's most definitely probably one of the two, and maybe confluence, and the stems don't have that color that these seem to have some brown on them. I don't think mine do.
This one says the stem is occasionally slightly flared to the base. So it kind of gets wider toward the bottom. Whereas confluens says the stem flared at the apex and or base. Yours is flared at the apex, right?
Yeah, we can look at it again. It seems like on the older specimens, there's a lot of, what is it, like flacos or, yeah.
Fuzzy.
Yeah, okay, that's the fuzz, okay.
And that's what I always see with the ones I find.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I
All
think
the way down the stem, whereas on Dryophila, it's very smooth, and it also goes kind of brown toward the base, if I remember.
yeah, that's what some of those quote pictures showed. Yeah.
I think I have a Dryophilus that I'll show later.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
thank you for the input, and it's not a dead ringer apparently, so that's all right. And yeah. And what do we call a stem when it has that crease going down it? I see that sometimes. Like on the bottom one, you can see the crease here.
Susan, did you say something? You were muted.
Well, I'm just thinking, I can't think of the term for that, but there is a term for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't remember what it is.
thank you.
It's not bifurcate, right?
Not what?
Bifurcate?
No.
Don't know.
Bifurcate means forking.
Okay.
For gills, yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Hunter.
Thank you, guys.
Evan, you want to go next?
Sure thing. All right.
I'll stop sharing.
Okay. I went out to Eagle Rock again to try and check on those mushrooms I photoed last time. Sadly, they all disappeared. The club and that one that could have possibly been a slime or some other form. Yeah. However, there has been a very interesting increase in tooth polypores. Like this one, let's see. These are sprouting up all over various smaller trees. Conifers, I believe. I've never actually seen one just like this. It's like a bunch of shelf tooth polypores just fused together. Aside from that, let's see. Good way to start.
So on that one, what do we think? Did you have a name for that?
Couldn't find one. They were a bit dried out, so the form definitely may have changed. Couldn't find a definite picture.
Did you happen to look at Irpex lactea?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. An old Irpex lactea.
Yeah, for the most part, I would guess that some of what you guys are looking at is new this year, but that one might not be.
Interesting. Well, I found other tooth polypores. Let's see if I could get the there we go. These ones here, these ones are definitely younger. They're all growing on a very decayed tree that had fallen.
Is this taken recently?
Yes, just a couple of days ago. I also have a photo of the underside of it. Let's see. These are some of the fresher ones.
Are we sure those are teeth?
They are pores. I would say they're pores.
Elongated pores,
Yep.
bluntly elongated pores. I know this one. I've seen this thing before.
This is not Serena unicolor, is it?
I don't think so, just because of the, I mean, it's overall orange, which I guess Serena unicolor would be that color starting out. But look at how hirsute the top of those caps are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of them could very well have been decayed to a certain extent. They were kind of breaking apart and emitting resin.
We've definitely seen this before. I just looking just like that.
Yep, we've seen this before for sure.
Yeah, and the name isn't immediately jumping out at me, but I'm all the names that I can eliminate. I'm eliminating them, but I can't put my finger on what this one's called.
Is it one of the trichaptums?
I would say no.
Okay.
It's not. There's a couple of those. It's not Trematopsis, right? Cervinus, because that thing is a little bit more fleshy. This thing, maybe it is. Right? This isn't Trematopsis cervinus, right?
Oh. Maybe. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Maybe this is Trematopsis cervina.
All right. Yeah, they've been popping up quite frequently around where I'm at.
It could also be, yeah.
Could the one before be Irpecoporus pachyodon?
I saw Lila put that in the chat. It could be, but in my experience, that Irpecoporus, especially when it's aged, because I think that thing was probably either overwintered or pretty old. The thing that we were considering Irpecoporus for, or
Yeah.
Irpex for.
Irpex, yeah.
Yeah. In my experience, Irpecoporus gets more blunt toothy and less sharp, elongated toothy like Irpex does. But yeah,
Okay.
that's definitely an option there too. Also, those Irpecoporus, they have pretty fleshy resupinate parts. That thing seemed kind of thin.
Okay. Yeah, it was, yeah, more resupinant, even the one he showed, kind of.
Right. The final one I have would be this one right here. It's another polypore. That seems to be all that's growing, except for really other mushrooms I found that were gilled that were just far too gone because of all the rain we got to identify. But this one was in really good condition. It was actually very small.
Nice one.
Neolentinus.
I'd say
Yeah.
maybe a little over like an inch in diameter.
Igor just said what it probably is.
Yeah, Alveolaris probably, because it's so dark.
All right.
Yeah, hexagonal polypore is the common name.
That's been broken up into several species, isn't it, or Igor?
Yep. We know what they are. I don't think they've been formally described, but yeah, we have probably like at least 3, I think, including, Alveolaris.
But you're in the right area. Yeah, that's beautiful.
All right. Well, that's all for my shares.
What's
Interesting
hanging
how
on the left?
interesting how hairy the margin is on this one.
Yeah.
Maybe I just never see them fresh, but I always see these things super dried up. But those hairs on the margin are cool.
Has anyone tried eating these things?
Eating? Really?
I don't know.
Two.
Are they edible?
I don't
They'd
know.
probably be a little chewy.
A little bit
Yeah.
chewy. Yeah.
I think me and Lila are staring at the same thing. At the what's on the left?
Yeah. That's one of the
Is it a
issues.
bird turd?
Part. It could be that. It could be the remnants of someone's litter. I was too scared to touch it.
Probably good practice these days.
Yeah.
Looks like a bird dropping of some kind.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe
Goose
that'll be
poop.
that'll be a good subject for the next discussion.
Yummy.
I like the little one hanging out underneath the big one over top. Not that the big one is very big, but that's a nice
Yeah, you see the
observation.
pores are just starting to form.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you can see that kind of hair growing kind of radially on the caps of these when they're fresh. It does look really prominent in this one, and so dark colored. But is it wet?
It was a very sunny day. It had enough time to dry out.
Okay.
But there was definitely enough moisture, I guess, kept in the wood it was growing on to keep it sustained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it almost looks wet.
What's it like? I was thinking it might be like part of its natural defense for maintaining moisture, like a mucus.
I
haven't
don't
yet.
think of them as like slimy at all, generally more dry, but maybe if it had been just so wet, it's just holding a lot of moisture, maybe.
Possibly. Well, those are my shares.
Cool. Thanks, Evan.
You're welcome.
All right, let's see. Chris, you want to go next?
Yeah. All right, so I got a couple of finds here. This one I think is a Leccinum, and I got some okay shots on it too. So all the micro I did with these couple of finds, I did on my new microscope that cost under $100. Which I gotta tell you, it's not so bad for under $100.
Looks good.
Real globose spores. But there was like one of them nice drainage runs over in Shark River Park. There was a couple of these. Nice squishy, what I think is a tremula. About the some of the stuff, the way it cut up, I never know what to do with these. Trying to get a slice off them wet is like, I don't know, it's like trying to cut jello or something. And I just never feel like I get anything good. And you can't cut a small enough piece, honestly. It just wiggles out from under you. But I think I got some of these spores came up decent. But same thing, just one of them ones laying on the ground already. Must have fallen out of a tree because the stick it was on had a million lichens on it. But these were neat. These are real tall. Could see the lighter in there, and that's like, I don't know, a lighter's probably about 3 inches, 3 1/4. So these things are all stipe. They have a real wide pore at the tip, and they have that little coffee bean line. I don't know if you could see all the way up in the left hand corner there. There's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Those are nice.
But I just thought they were unusually tall out of the leaves here.
Did you say what you thought these were, Chris?
I have no idea what these things are.
Wiry stem, or was it? Looks pretty strong to hold that cap up so high.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I mean, of course, once you get one out and you hold on to it for a minute, it instead of bending, it just would like kink, like you were trying to bend a straw or something.
Can you show the gills again?
I don't. Did that picture not make it in there? Oh man.
Yeah, you didn't show the gills.
I didn't. Yeah, I guess that picture didn't make it in here.
Can you zoom on this one a little bit more?
But like not necessarily like umbonate or anything, just real smoothed over, and this was as open as any of them were.
Do you remember what the gills look like?
Yeah, not too crowded, and like a, like a tan looking, had a real, just kind of like the spore color in the photos. Like that's the whole spore print was like almost a match to this color wise, honestly. Like that cinnamony brown side of cinnamon.
Looks kind of golden, actually.
Is this in water or KOH?
Water.
Water. Were the stipes flexible, like wiry, or did they snap?
They would kind of just like kink over in one spot.
But they would not like break apart or anything like that.
Not really.
So you think that the spore print would be brown?
Like that brownish, reddish, copperish type of color, but more, more on the brown side of things.
Were the gills distant, subdistant, crowded?
Like subdistant, not super far apart, but not crowded.
Okay,
I
so
don't know if I can find that.
so can we eliminate marasmius here and Mycena from consideration? Because these are,
Yeah, I would think so.
yeah.
I mean, if the spore print wasn't clearly white,
Yeah, marasmius is also white, I think, right?
I think Conocybe is a possibility.
Conocybe are right, and these were
Yeah.
growing from the ground or from the leaves.
No, definitely from the ground.
So terrestrial. Okay.
Yeah, when I pulled the leaves away a bit, they were like to the ground.
Yeah, Conocybe, I think, have fragile stipes. So these were wiry. They would have a kink, but they would not like tear apart or they're flexible.
I guess we can't really rule out, while you was this a wet area? Is this like swamp adjacent? Any of those like terrestrial gallerinas or foliotas or something like that? Maybe
we're standing right at the bottom of a little hill where like the trail, I would assume, like if it rain, because it did rain pretty good, this is where like a lot of the rain that would hit that trail would run to, right under these couple of whatever that is, rhododendron or whatever.
Conocybe Bolbitius.
if you zoom in on the stipe, is there some stretching velar material that I'm seeing there?
Yeah, like almost like that, like almost fuzziness remnants.
No.
Yeah, Hunter proposed Conocybe volutipes. I think she's up to something here. That's for sure.
Nice.
Can we
Here's
see
the
the
link, Michael Kuo.
spores one more time? Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, they were just super cool looking, standing that high all by themselves. I was like, what is that?
Did the spores have any ornamentation, or were they smooth?
Just that little like coffee bean line.
Coffee bean line.
Yeah, like that one right there.
Yeah, I think I see it. Yeah, I wonder if this is some kind of an optical illusion, as
Yeah,
opposed
it's
No,
to
a
on more than
couple of
one.
them-
the real thing.
It's
Yeah, a
on more
couple
than
of-
one, Igor.
Yeah, a couple of them have them.
Is that like an apical pore?
Yep.
Mm. Conocybe volutipes does not have an apical pore. Maybe it does. I think it does.
Are we talking about the one in the upper left that I think, Chris, you're positing might be a germ slit? not a germ pore, a vertical germ pore that goes pole to pole. Is that what you think you're looking at in the upper left there?
Well, I mean, there's that one in the upper left, and then you got this one right here.
Yeah.
You can see one. There's one to the right side over there.
Yeah.
But they all have that pretty flat tip that looks like the pore.
Okay, yeah. So a germ pore, not the thing that in the upper left that you were calling a coffee bean thing. That would be a vertical a germ slit from pole to pole. And I think that's just an optical illusion happening in the upper left. But yeah, there's an obvious germ pore at one pole on the rest of the spores.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they just might have that.
But the coffee bean thing that I think you were referring to is an optical illusion on the one in the upper left.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, I don't
Like,
think so.
yeah, quite a few of these seem to have
Yeah.
that look. Like there's one.
Not a thick cell wall or something. I'm with Brandon. That doesn't really look like what I've seen as the germ slit before, but
Yeah. Or it can only be seen in a certain projection, like when
Yeah.
they're on their side, you cannot see them. But if you flip them on their back or stomach, then all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing that in any of them other than the one in the upper left.
Mm-hmm. You see
Just
over
put
here
a-
on this image on the bottom right, there is a line there. So
Yeah.
maybe it's just a
It's a thick cell wall presenting.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put an observation in the chat for Conocybe volutipes by somebody on iNaturalist who has a lot of microscopy photos, including the spores, which look very similar to this. And you can clearly see on their photo the thick cell wall.
Huh.
Thanks, Jason. I see the spores now. Look the same. Michael Koo says there's a similar species with smaller spores called Cyanophila, also Conocybe. So Conocybes have fragile stipes. They do break. Not wiry stipes.
I think Cyanophila has smaller spores.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, I'll have to go further down that road.
And I think their shapes are a little bit different too, based on Michael Koo's picture here. I'm going to post the link for people to see of Cyanophila.
the Gestalt does match up very good, I think, with that Conocybe volutipes.
Yeah.
Just you didn't think it was super fragile, though.
No, even making its way home in my bag, it didn't, it wasn't completely destroyed.
Yeah.
And I found this little tiny thing in the leaves.
Yeah, that's going to be a Mycena, isn't it?
I think so. It's so hard to get do anything with them. Like 5 minutes goes by and they start shrinking on you.
They dry up, yeah.
Some
Looked Mycena-like.
real tiny everything on this. This is just kind of what I could get as I pulled them out.
Was it that on the ground or wood or?
Yeah, just in the like in the leaf duff, you pick up a fistful of leaves and sort the mycelium out.
Well, it looked like the stem was fuzzy at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
kind of hairy, which is a couple of the Mycenas do that, if I remember. little fuzzy on the stem somewhat. Yeah, that's definitely white hairs at the bottom.
Yeah.
Did you happen to tweak the stem at all? Is this the only one you found?
This one, and there was such a tiny one that I didn't even bother touching it. But no, I didn't like purposely
Break it.
No.
Hmm.
Seemed like it would have been easy to do.
Susan, were you wondering whether it would exude some kind of liquid or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hemotopus is, I can't remember. One of them's on leaf duff and
yeah,
sanguinolenta.
That's the one that's normally found on the ground, I think.
As opposed to hematopus is on wood, isn't it?
Right.
Mhm.
What is the name of the one that grows on the ground that it also exudes a blood color? Is it also a red?
Yeah.
Neat.
Sanguinolenta or something like that.
Sanguinolenta. Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Ah,
It's got it up.
nice.
Yeah, and I could see that as a valid ID here. Just, I mean, it has that coloration already. It's got the hairy foot.
All right, next time I find one of these, I'll have to.
And I'm guessing this is the right time of year where you guys are for this.
Man, it's been temperature up and down. I'm not sure about
Yeah,
anything these days.
Well, as opposed to end of August into September, this would be a late spring kind of thing, and I suspect, and maybe early summer.
I think it's not very common. Well, I'm in South Jersey. It's not very common. I've only seen it once, and I saw it late in the season, actually.
We used to see it a lot up here, but I haven't been in a deciduous kind of woods much up here.
But that's all I really had there.
Cool. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Lila, you want to go next?
Sure. I think I can go. Let's find myself here. All right. All right, let's start with this thing that I don't know what it is. I feel like I've seen it before, so let me share. So what caught my eye on this is this funky looking ring. I didn't expect to see this color contrast when I turned this over.
Wow.
Yeah, it's high and tight, huh?
Yeah. So here's this one. It looks like is coming down, eroding down. This little one, it's still up there. Let's go through. I got a bunch of photos. There's a close-up. These were scattered about, individuals in a low quality hayfield, I would say, dominated by thyme and strawberries, wild strawberries, and not much hay in this particular area, but it was kind of golden from the top. These were a few days old. I couldn't find anything real fresh. They were varying in sizes. Here's the base, some sort of white thread coming out of it, just growing in the soil and the decaying plant matter.
Man, that is something.
The gills themselves were notched.
Did you say you did a spore print?
No, I didn't do a spore print. I did save them, save a few. I dried them, but I didn't have a slide or anything. I was out of town, so this wasn't, I didn't have my normal stuff. I feel like we've seen this before, but I can't remember what it is.
That inverted annulus is super interesting. I can't place it personally.
You said you've had a lot of rain down here where you guys are?
Yes, where I found this, it has been pretty wet.
My guess would be that it sort of opened out faster than it was wanting to release its underside. I don't know how to describe that. In other words, it kind of outgrew it or something. I don't think this is typically what it might look like.
Oh.
But it also looks like it's a dark spore print that has already let go all of the spores.
Right.
And it also looks like a grass situation. And I can't remember any of the LBMs that grow in grass. There was one where you have
would a Grossaby be a good place to start for something like this, you think?
That's what I was thinking as well.
the one with the group photo. There's a somewhat young one down in the lower part. Yeah, that one there. Yeah, that looks like something common in lawns. See how widely spaced the gills are, and
Right.
I just can't remember any of those LBMs in grass.
Was it really in grass?
Well, it's a hayfield, actually, technically.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that moss?
Yeah,
No,
but it's a very poor quality hayfield. This was in a rocky section where I don't think the soil is very deep. I think the limestone bedrock is pretty close under it. So not much really grows there. Just, yeah, these mosses and I guess no wild strawberries right here, but you can see plantain over here and there maybe some clover and not a lot of good stuff growing there.
So
And
this is not
lilac.
some kind of a Xylaria or a Xylaria lookalike.
Maybe.
I'm looking at Agrosopy pedioides.
One of the photos showed the inverted stipes, like the upside down. Were they as yellow? Were the stipes as yellow as they appeared in that photograph?
Let's see. There.
Yeah, this is the photo I was talking about. Maybe it's a trick of the light, but they look quite yellow.
Yeah, that one that Jason said is looking good, I think.
It does have a ring though. Agrosopy pedioides doesn't have a ring, I think.
Right.
It's X annulate. these are clearly annulate. No question about it.
Extra.
Yeah, you can say that again.
I would say Strophareaceae is a good lead, but Hygrocybe maybe.
All right, I'll try to narrow it down. Hygrocybe and Stropharia. All right, Strophareaceae. All right. Anybody, any other ideas?
Hygrocybe dura. Looks kind of similar to Hygrocybe dura, but maybe not the same.
What
Those
about hyphiloma? Could it be that?
Not with a ring like that, I think.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
if Susan's right that it's like a freak of,
The conditions, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Like Hygrocybe is probably the right genus.
Yeah, I'm just looking on my phone here. I don't think I took a picture of the whole patch. Yeah,
Hygrocybe
probably-
dura grows in the grass and has a ring.
All right, I'll take a look at those. Dura, petiodii, odes, Strophacearia. All right. So that one. Oh, here's the one I think is dryophilus, the Gymnopus dryophilus, maybe.
Any suggestion from INAT's AI on the idea of that annulate thing?
No, I tried it. I didn't get
All over the
much.
map. Didn't.
Hmm.
Yeah, AI sucks. Okay, we knew that.
So there were a couple of these oak trees, hickory trees very nearby. I only saw the two. Looked like it was forking towards the stipe instead of towards the edge here, but maybe that was just an anomaly. I think I saw that in like 2 places.
That cap is very dark for Dryophilus.
Yeah, I was going to say the gills are too wide.
Too wide.
Too wide?
I think this is Rhodocollybia, maybe.
Oh, I don't know that one.
The cap was kind of a reddish brown. The stipe was smooth.
Yep, the stipe looks very Gymnopus. That's what I think of when I think of Gymnopus stipe, and all these things that have, former in Collybia. Yeah, I don't know how to explain that any further. They're all going back to Collybia soon. So
The Rhodocollybia pictures really do have that same cap look. So I could see why you said that.
Okay, so Rhodocollybia maybe.
Yeah, the gills are wrong for Dryophilus.
Okay.
The gills don't look right for Rhodocollybia butyracea either. They look pretty crowded on that Rhodocollybia.
Rhodocollybia.
yeah, I think Butyracea.
Butyracea.
Yeah.
Butyracea, yeah.
Those gills look pretty crowded to me. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I think that looks good.
All right. Thank you. All right, let's take a look at this one.
Oh, yeah.
Hygrocybe conica, I believe. They're just these two. They were growing right next to each other. Not far, by the way. The one with the funky ring was, those were scattered around this.
Looks like the same habitat.
Yeah. Those other, it's right in the same spot. I think I saw these first. The orange grabbed my attention, and then I spotted those individual ones with the funky ring.
Yeah, I think you're right on with identification here.
Yeah.
It's a
The
species
Hygrocybe.
complex.
Yeah.
It's a species complex, and there's also another species that looks similar called Singeri, also a species complex. I just had one of these things sequenced from the Pine Barrens, which is an unusual habitat. 2 years ago, we collected it at Bass River Forest. Turned out to be one of the either, we couldn't place it. There's a similar species in Michigan, but nobody has a name. So it's in that group, but there are too many of them.
What group?
Conica.
Hygrocybe?
Singeri, Hygrocybe conica.
Okay.
All right, I'm not aware of the Singaria. All right, I didn't keep this, so no testing of it. But we'll call it that for now. All right, these were growing in wood chip mulch. I think it's
like so pleated,
yeah, really just
like floating on top the other stuff.
yeah. And then all this other material on top. This was very early in the morning. Foggy, dewy morning. Hollow, white, fuzzy stipe, tapered to the top. And there you can see it's hollow. Pretty good size.
I got an idea if you don't.
Yeah, you got a suggestion?
Coprinopsis lagopus, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too.
Okay.
I don't think they stick around for very long. They dissolve away.
They're so cool. Sometimes they look like invisible caps, like the caps look clear when they're fully open.
Yeah, when they open up more, yeah, get translucent.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I just noticed down here in the corner is a Xylaria that I also have an observation of, but a lot of stuff like in that wood chip mulch.
I like this picture. The poster child picture there is nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is really.
All right, so this Xylaria that other photo in the corner might actually be better, but same area of wood chips. These things very tough, very firm, growing from pieces of wood chip, which is either willow or ash wood chips, if that makes any difference. Most of them were straight, but this one was bifurcated. So I did spend a little bit of time trying to figure this one out on a mushroom observer, and the first thing you think, oh, it's that Xylaria hypoxylon, but reading Quo, it made me think that it was something else. I think it was this, because it doesn't really look like this, right? This is way too fuzzy at the top, too much going on.
I agree, not hypoxylon.
Yeah. So down here, he said, yeah, hypoxylon is really only on the West Coast in the US. Eastern collections may represent Xylaria vacconica, a closely related species that does not develop antlers. I think I looked at the Xylaria longiana, and that didn't seem right. So it seemed like this vacconica might be the thing. And I did look at a few other observations on INAT, and
well, we definitely have hypoxylon here on the East Coast. I don't know if that's good information. Just saying it's on the West Coast. We have examples of hypoxylon on the East Coast, but I don't think that's what this is.
The this website, Michael Kuo, is West Coast, so I don't know how much he's traveled east. Isn't there a key? Some to Xylaria has about 10 different species at least.
We have more than that. If you go to the ASCO France site, they have a good key there, and yeah, you'd be pretty surprised by the amount of things that are out there.
Yeah.
So there's Longiana. Is there also Longipus or no?
Yeah, those are two distinct species.
Okay. Maybe Longipus, maybe?
I think so. I've never found this species, Vesconia, Vesconica, but I think that would be kind of my first thought with this thing. I think you got to do some micro, get some spores out of the thing, but
yeah.
Conica. Okay.
Yeah. I did save it, but I didn't bring it with me, so I'll have to get it the next time I'm back up there. Or did I? No, I did bring it.
yeah, I mean, a lot of these Xylaria, they're variable, especially when young.
Right.
And then as they mature, that's when they get their more varied qualities to them morphologically, but even morphologically they pretty much look the same, so you got to get those spores.
Yeah, when they're young, I think that a lot of them look the same. One of the other details, now looking at my notes here, yeah, somewhere I read one of them is a possible decayer of gooseberry roots, and there is actually a couple of gooseberries planted in this area of the wood chips. So I think that was another thing that made me think it could be this, but
And that's a good point. Some of them are super highly host specific. You know, they only grow on certain shells or tree associations and things like that. So
I'm still looking for that elusive liquid ambar.
got to come down to Camden County.
Every time I'm walking through a section with them things, I'm staring into the piles of them, and I get nothing.
all right, this has got to be something common, but I didn't try to work too hard on it. From my last one, I don't know if this was just conditions making the stipe get so.
Is this our friend Bolbitius?
I think it might be a Bolbitius, but
Oh wow, look at
Look
that.
at that stipe.
yeah, I don't know if the stipe matched for that. That might be why I didn't say that. This is in like hay mulch. There were a fair number of them. Some of them were pretty big, a couple inches across.
Could be the typical titubans, or how you pronounce that.
Do you still have this one?
No, this one I did not keep.
I don't know if it's just light or what, but it looks like that gill edge too has got like a bit of white.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
So is Bolbitius a cone associated thing, right? Or is that something else?
Are you thinking Stabiliurus?
Yep, sure am. Thank you.
Yeah, what I'm curious, what I know there's the yellow Bolbitius, but I mean, is that what's screams Bolbitius to people? Because a couple of people think for sure that's what it is. I'm just kind of curious, like what the tells are for that genus besides the yellow in that one species, titubans or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know the genus well enough, but I know somebody who does.
Okay. I know Ben says Bolbitius for sure in the chat. I don't know, maybe he has some thoughts. I don't know.
You said you kept this? Did you dry it?
No, this one I did not keep.
Oh.
It struck me as something super common and not that interesting, but so I didn't bother to keep it.
I'm guessing striation, like really long striations, are characteristic of the genus, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so now. It was like 2 days ago when I read about it. Yeah, it was older, I think. Yeah, I didn't really see any fresh and tighter. This was about the best looking one, I think, that was there. And there were several of them. This was in a tree ring mulched with hay, and they were growing in the hay and circling this little tree or shrub or whatever it was. So, all right, that's enough from me.
Cool, thanks, Lila.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Shihong, you want to go next?
Have my mouth, so it's a little hard to open anything. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. I
Okay,
can hear
good.
you.
Okay, this mushroom, someone sent me. I mean, this bigger. It's very hairy on top, and the bottom look like this. So when I just saw this, I look at the bottom. I thought this could be the new what? I cannot say the name anymore.
Neophilus America.
That's right. But
This is Lentinus.
That's
Lentinus.
Lentinus, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I upload to iNet and it gave me a totally different name. So the name it gave me is Lentinus arcularius.
Yeah.
There it is, yeah.
Are they supposed to be this hairy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's one. Let me see. I would like to share another one. This I found under an oak tree. It's kind of dry, so it cracked. And this is what they look like at the bottom. And the stipe is very kind of a hairy, scaly, you will see. Let me see. Sorry, I just cannot control this without the mouse.
The gill edges are serrate.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, looks like the wrecker, train
Yeah,
wrecker.
this is what I thought you were going to propose for the last one, but yeah, this is Neolentinus, right?
Neolentinus.
And it just looks so striking if you look at the gill, kind of wavy and very,
Yeah.
very dense.
Serrated edge.
Yeah.
What was it growing on?
It's at the base of an oak tree, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was wondering, is that have a lot of hosts?
Can you repeat that?
Does the train record have a lot of hosts? Because usually you see it right on wood, but and I've seen it. I thought more on pine, but of course it used to grow out of the railroad ties, which is why it got the name. So perhaps it's very versatile. I don't know. I was just curious.
Okay, this is at the Colonial Park near a pass, everybody passing by. Not really a tree track.
Yeah, it can grow everywhere, but I mean, it doesn't need to be by a train track anymore. But it was a worry at one time that this would it was like banned actually in America because it decomposed these railroad ties, and so now they treat them so that doesn't happen.
Ah,
Yeah.
so that's where the name come from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I want to share another one before I know this what it is. It's just the size of it. It's enormous. I put my feet there and it's 3 times on my feet.
Yeah, dryad saddle.
Yeah,
What-
it's
what's its
really
name now?
Cerioporous squamosus.
Squamosus.
it's really huge.
Yeah, they are
Yeah.
sometimes.
Let me see one picture here from far away. I saw somebody's high heel shoe was there, and I
Oh,
walked
yeah,
by
yeah.
the huge dryad. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all I want to share. Nothing really spectacular.
Can I ask a question? Does anybody know if John Burkhardt or somebody has any of Ray Fatto and Gene Varney's records from their collecting within this same area? Because that might be that one you just had might be listed in their records for Colonial Park. It seems to me that they used to collect there.
Oh,
a lot.
really?
Yeah. But that's going back a few years, I guess.
I don't know if he does, but we can ask him, Susan. He has a lot
Yeah.
of various records, you know, club
Yeah.
records.
Well, this would have been, they used to go out on their own, the two of them, and the other park, I think, was Hutchinson. Is that?
Yeah, the Hutchinson
Hutchinson
Forest.
Memorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just checking real quick.
Who's got the TV or radio going?
Yeah, I see 17 collections in the club's herbarium by Ray Fatto from Colonial Park,
Huh. Okay.
ranging from 1982 to 1999.
Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would have put it in the herbarium if you thought it was interesting.
All right, thanks, Shihong.
Thank you.
Brandon, you want to go next?
Sure. And sorry, guys, that was me. Phillies Braves in the background.
Oh, should have known baseball.
Yeah. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, great. So I've been finding some boletes. And I'm calling this one Leccinum vulpinum. Just seems super early for this thing to be popping up, in my opinion.
They do pop up in the spring, May. I've seen them do that over a number of years in the past.
Okay,
Because
cool.
they're feeding off the pines, so you're going to see also Tylopilus phellius and Cortinarius capiratus and things like that.
Yep. The next thing I'm going to show is Tylopilus phellius and a potential other thing. But yeah, I'd never seen this at this location or this early, so I thought it was kind of interesting. But
Yeah.
whether it's vulpinum or one of these other things, it's definitely Leccinum, right?
Yeah, it's in the vulpinum group. They do stand out genetically in sectional Xylaria with conifers, that is, different from all the other ones that grow with deciduous trees like aspen.
Right.
So yeah, I tried to do analysis of ITS, but it seems like there's just too much variability due to these humongous indels, insertions or deletions of parts of ITS. But yeah, I would say it's either a closely knit species group or it's the same species that just with a lot of ancestral inbreeding and hybridization, that kind of stuff, introgression. So yeah, vulpinum I think is probably at least I would say 50% accurate.
Yeah. Cool.
Would those be considered like a scaber?
Yeah, they're scaber stocks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very edible, very good. Nobody had any problems with them as far as I know. No sensitization of any kind, so you can just continue eating them year after year. You'll be fine.
Just know they turn black when you cook them.
Yeah, they turn
that's
sort of
unsettling.
pinkish. Then,
Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah, it's just
Have no pause. Have no pause when they do this.
oxidation. Yeah, no big
Okay.
deal. It just doesn't look as attractive as something that keeps its white color, but no harm.
I think that might cause a kitchen freak out for me.
Calm down. Take
All
a
right,
deep
and then
breath.
I didn't collect this one because I was pretty sure what I was looking at. When I see this type of,
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know this is Tylopilus phelleus. Yes.
Yeah, unless we have our own American Thelius, which I don't know if we do. But it seems like it's to be distributed globally in the Northern Hemisphere. Yep, very bitter, very attractive, but very bitter.
Yep.
Always
And
grows with the pines.
And I showed that one to show this one. This was weird for me. Many of these, most of them were growing out of the ground, and I may very well have a mixed collection here.
No, it's the same thing.
Same thing. So this is all phelleus?
All Thelius.
Okay. Yeah. Note the pink staining on the cap here. The thing that was throwing me was this really deep netted reticulation.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
aberrant, but it does happen. Look at the pores.
Yeah, pink.
Yeah, pink, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost looks like a little bit Oreoblatus rosellii, sort of, in that department. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that or what is it? Rhodocollybia potentially, but
Right, Rhodocollybia. Yeah, I would have in the case of Ornatipes and company, yellow pores. Yeah, but these are better. You should have tried them.
I did.
Yeah,
they were bitter, which is why I was thinking they were Tylopilus. The other thing that was throwing me, not only how yellow the stipe is, but I found many specimens growing
out of wood, right?
Out of wood.
Yes, does it all the time.
I see that a lot up here.
Very common. Even in Europe, when I was in Lithuania in 2019, I found one growing out of a stump.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, this is a very typical look. Reticulation, and then it kind of breaks apart and gives this interesting texture in the lower stipe, sort of kind of broken reticulation and lacunae, whatever you call them, these cavities. Yeah.
Lacunae is how you put that?
Yeah. I just made this up. Yeah. It probably has a more specific meaning than that. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking the way I described the mature one was like if boletinoid pores were on the stipe, so there are these like kind of multiple layers of netting. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, kind of a compound netting. They
yeah,
yeah, very textured. Yeah.
all right, cool. But this time of year, pink pores, that reticulation on the stipe, it's likely going to be Tylopilus felius.
Yep,
Yeah.
most certainly. Yep.
Okay. Cool. Thanks. So that was my boletes. I'll share this one real quick. I'm calling it Tubaria furfuraceae. It's a little bit off from what I'm used to seeing, but Tubaria furfuraceae was kind of my, it's my best guess at this point. I mean, look at how encrusted and also jagged those gills are. Granted, these are maybe a little bit over mature. No annular zone that I can make out. This stretching material, yes, but no distinct annular zone. The margin is kind of what throws me toward Tubaria. There's some ornamentation approaching the margin of the cap there, but again, that wrinkling and kind of how irregular these gills are, those don't seem very Tubaria furfuraceae for me.
Probably like carrier of some kind.
Well, it's brown spored.
It is brown sport?
Yeah.
Wow. Look like a waterlogged post-mature Lacaria. Yeah. Look at them. It is brown.
Rusty brown is where I had it landing. I kind of thought this was a quart at one point, but I think Tubaria is probably the best ID here. A little bit of ornamentation going on the spores, not quite varicose, but not completely smooth either, which made me think Conocybe perhaps. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what this thing is. Tubaria is just kind of my best guess. This is the gill edge. There's, a bunch of shapes going on with these cystidia. So not sure what to really make of that. And Tubaria kind of has that same thing. Just a bunch of rounded apexes on many different shaped cystidia. So yeah, not sure. Anyone have an opinion on this thing?
Oop, another LBM.
Yeah. I will say very orange. Maybe that color gets washed out a little bit, but the gills were orange, the cap was orange, the stipe was orange, but that spore deposit being not totally orange, which one might think with Tubaria, but the fact that it has any color whatsoever rolls out a lot of things. So Conocybe, Tubaria, maybe a Quaternarius. They're at
It
the
was
top
coming
of
out of the ground, Brandon?
Yeah.
Mm,
I'm
okay.
not sure if I even have an in situ photo, do I? So this young one here on the right, that one is in situ. I didn't mess with it.
Got
But
it.
they were growing cespitose. So I tried to pull up one and pulled up these two and just kind of laid it on that in situ one. There were 4 or 5 growing in a little cluster on the ground, but they could have been growing off of a twig or buried root or something like that.
So the little one there doesn't look like it has any scales on the cap. Did any of them have the tubaria, the scurfiness?
Not right on the margin like you would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, scurfiness, not right up against the margin, but in some capacity, sure. Cool. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. All right. I think I've run out of people. Did I miss anybody? Anybody else have anything to share? Sue?
Yeah, I was going to say, Susan, are we going to be graced with some sarcosomas at any point?
Well, if you don't mind looking at them, I think I have them out. They're on the tail end of their run of 5 or 6 weeks, and I also have some gyromitra pictures. That's about what I've been seeing mostly. Let me see if I have this right. I haven't done this for a while, but I think I have it open. All right, now what am I doing wrong here? Share, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom, is that usual?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay, so this is now a couple of weeks ago. This is the I have several here. Sarcosoma globosum, which I've gotten into the spot around the 15th or 10th of April. The problem being my physical getting in there, but also the ice might not have been melted all the way, but also I've only been able to get to the one site because there's a bridge out. Oh, now let me see if I have to get rid of you folks here on the side. Oh, wait, maybe.
Why does it look like silver or whatever in there?
Oh, that's just moisture, rain. So this is the main structure, which is kind of like gray jello inside, and this is where the spores form on this black disc. These now are several weeks old, this one. And I think maybe when the rain hits it, it just sort of keeps it moist on top. You can see the size with the penny. Here, this one's looking much blacker. And because of the light, what happens with these is they tend to kind of swell up with whatever the weather is, and then they eventually flatten out on this disc. That's when they throw their spores, and then they sort of start to collapse. In this case, these guys got eaten by the slugs a lot, particularly in the center thing here. Now these particular pictures are from a couple weeks ago. Some of these same ones, I'll show you in a minute, much desiccated, and this, more like this. This is kind of what happens, but you see how it's kind of filled up with its water? And it doesn't matter if it goes down below freezing, they'll just freeze like little rocks and stay there. And then when it warms up, they'll sort of continue to grow. Or in this case, they didn't really grow much after I took some of these pictures. And I was in there day before yesterday, I think, and they're just little puddles of goo now. This is still from a couple of weeks ago. Now you see how many are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there's another one over here somewhere. Anyway, I get a big kick out of seeing these. The trouble now also for me is that this site has gotten unbelievably overgrown with small saplings of white pines and balsam firs and stuff. It's gotten too hard for me to bushwhack in here. But anyway, I get a kick out of seeing them. You poke them
You're
and
so
they kind of
lucky.
Well, they're pretty unique. It's with Norway spruce, and they always grow in the exact same spot. I wish I could, oops, sorry, going too fast. I wish I could get in further to my 3 other sites, but the bridge is not safe to cross in between. So anyway, so there is kind of the site of Scarface Mountain in the back here of what I'm dealing with here. Now, this is a Gyromitra type thing. Yeah, yeah, this is Gyromitra, probably Esculenta. After the talk by Alden Dirks, I'm kind of wondering whether I need to pay more attention to differences. They tend to be this kind of nice brown color with these funny kind of stems. Pretty good size, you can tell by the penny. And very few true morels. It's only about 10 I found this year. I ate these. Yeah, they were good. I don't tend to find true morels very much up here. Oh, and this was a lot this
Wow.
day.
5 in one spot.
Yeah. Well, and the ones just previously were all in that under some kind of a spruce tree, which is weird. There wasn't anything else much there. Now, the Gyromitras are starting to look like this. Very ragged. They've been out there about 3 weeks. This one's still in pretty good shape.
That's a nice photo.
Yeah, nice couple of them.
Pair there, yeah.
Yeah. The lighting is sometimes funny, so I try and take them at different angles. Oh, and red trilliums. They're past now up here. And the hobble bush.
You ate the Gyromitra?
No,
Oh,
I never eat Gyromitras.
okay. I thought you said that. But I was like, oh, really? And do you know what you're calling that one?
The Gyromitra I'm calling Esculenta.
Oh,
The true
okay.
the
Don't
true
eat it.
morel
Yeah.
the true morel I'm just calling it. Yeah, here's a good picture of the Gyromitra. This is fairly typical. This is
Yeah.
usually a more beige color, but this one I think had been out several days to a week before I saw it.
Yeah, so
The
highly
true
toxic should be considered as this one, right?
sorry,
This should be considered highly toxic.
correct.
Yes.
The ones that were the kind of true morels, I did eat those. I didn't pin a species on it because I know they've been divided up big time. I just
Morchella angusticeps. That's the.
Oh, you
typical
think that's what it
white morel.
was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the black morels are still the conical black ones are still angusticeps in Northeast, right?
Well, there are others, but these are probably more common.
Ah, here they are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were good. But like I said, I rarely see these. And these are not at all like what I used to find in New Jersey years ago.
And
I would
perhaps
find
if they were growing with a different tree like a conifer, maybe there's something else.
yeah, this is with I'm pretty sure it was a spruce tree. And the interesting part is that it was along an old railroad bed that was next to a well-known kind of bog area. And there wasn't other trees. I mean, they were definitely under this one tree, which is kind of odd. But anyway, I found them there last year too. All right, let me see if I can. But that's exciting for me to find them at all, because years ago I used to find bunches of them in New Jersey and Warren and Sussex County, pretty much. Oh, and that's where I was
Yum.
cooking them.
Yummy.
Now, this is the Paul Smith Vic, which for some reason, yeah, that's where these are. I was standing where these were growing, which again, these are looking a little ragged. And I was looking at them today. Yeah, that one's looking a little better. Let me see if I can. I hate to run you through all of this, except that I don't know. It's a pain for me to put them somewhere else to.
I
be able
understand
to look
only
at.
like one
see that.
genus of these are toxic, amongst all these.
Right, that was the one thing that Alden Dirk said, that it's the true Gyromitras that are the toxic ones, but there's a whole lot of things that he
Oh, there's
puts.
another one. There's another genus that starts with a P, para something, that all of them contained hydrazine, and you have to be careful about that one. But the other ones seem to lack these toxins.
This is at the Paul Smith's Visitor Interpretive Center, looking out towards St. Regis Mountain. Lots of interesting wildflowers.
Yeah, that trillium is so beautiful. Do you know which
Yeah, they are.
that is?
Yeah, there's been,
The
oop,
pink
oop.
in the middle?
Sorry. What was the question?
Oh, just the one with the pink in the middle.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Yeah.
a lot of those today.
I think that's Trillium undulatum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Thanks.
think I put some of these into iNaturalist.
And what do you do with that plant? Is it edible or something?
No, it's just beautiful. This is, yeah, you don't need to see this, but this is my hats. Oh dear.
Oh,
Is it
I
is
think
it
we-
dyed with your mushrooms?
No, it's just a new oh, what do you call it? A new
pattern.
pattern of turtles for me. I make a lot of different kinds of hats. Now, see, now I'm getting confused of how to do this. Let me just see if I can pick up with what I found today. Oh, so here are some of those same sarcosomas.
Yeah, to restart your share.
Oh, yeah, I know. I had to get the right thing up. Now I have to
Okay.
find the. Where's the? Okay. Sorry, I'm not so handy at this sort of thing, which is partly why I don't plug in with you guys much. Now, remember that first one we saw? Here it is today. It's totally eaten on the top and looking very poorly, as are some of these other ones.
Mm.
Now this being about 5 weeks, at least. I didn't get in here as soon as I wanted to because it was just way too difficult to bushwhack. This looks like somebody or something took a bite out of it. And we've also had a lot of rain over the last week to 10 days. So that's another reason why these are very squidgy mushy. Yeah, and this one was beautiful weeks ago. But if it dries out, they'll just sort of collapse and turn into potato chips. Otherwise, they'll stay gooey like they are. Yeah, and here's that view of Scarface again with the larch trees here with the light green. I don't think I took a picture of the bridge. Oh, and here, yes, this is now what the Gyromitras still out for 3 or 4 weeks, but now they're looking, I mean, they're still standing up, but they're looking a little poorly. Yeah, now this one looked pretty fresh. This I stumbled on today down the Heron Marsh Trail. And I just get such a kick out of the funny shapes.
Me too. I love seeing these.
Yeah, these are cool. I don't, for all the years I hunted in New Jersey, I think I only found something similar to this twice. And we're talking 1982 to 2009. The heyday of my collecting, oop, and there's the Canada geese across the march, was in the mid-90s. Mid-90s till about 1999, 2000, when all the elm trees died along the old train lines. That's where I used to find the good morels, I would call them, which Morchella esculenta. I don't know what they were even called.
Americana.
So, sorry?
The yellow ones, Morchella americana.
Oh, is that what it is now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
esculent is European. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
been
see
broken
that.
up like years ago. I mean, there was so many
Right.
papers after that of Quo and the Chloe in 2012. So like several papers came out in the last 10
Right,
years.
right. Yeah, I knew that. And that's kind of when I thought, well, I'm never going to relearn this. I just knew the good ones from the bad ones. And not, you know, and I'm not even a big eater of fungi, but morels, I used to take a week off of work to hunt in my favorite spots in Hunterdon and Warren County and Sussex County. Again, when the elm trees were still regenerating along the train lines, they were very predictable as to where to find them. But as the elm trees finally died out, which I don't know if that's still a habitat you guys look under, but there's no elm trees up here.
Elms are gone and ash trees are gone. Everything is gone but tulip poplars.
Oh, you can still, yeah, I have seen some postings on Facebook of the tulip poplar morel. I had a good site for that from about 1982 to about, oh, it must have been close to 10 years.
Yeah, once those trees were gone, you know, we saw a significant reduction in the population of all the morels.
Yeah, that
You
doesn't.
still see black morels, but all the big Americana are now much more rarer than they used to be, you know, because
And
of
we
the dying ash.
and do any of you hunt under old abandoned apple trees? Old
Not me.
orchards?
I,
well,
I don't, only because of the alkalines in the soil.
well, it's the
Lead
arsenic
arsenate.
Arsenic.
Lead
from the old
arsenate,
pesticide.
yeah,
That's
PBAS, yes.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because you know it was Bob Peabody in our club who suffered from the heavy metal poisonings, and it was determined he had eaten too many morels collected under the old apple trees. That would have been in the 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, you must have
Anyway,
gone to these big outfits that actually use the lead arsenate.
yeah, well, it was when that got talked about, Gene Varney knew immediately that the pesticide of choice was the heavy metals, the arsenic and was it lead was the other one?
Yeah, it's the inorganic. It's called lead arsenate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's it's a salt of metal, lead, and arsenic, which is not it's like a metalloid. So you get this unusual inorganic substance called the lead arsenate.
Which stays in the soil, that's the whole
Yes,
thing.
it just
And
doesn't
the
go away.
mushrooms absorb it, which is
Yep.
the other thing.
It's
This is, I think, Entoloma vernum, which these are the first ones I really saw today, but that can be a fairly common mushroom up here at this time of year. It's a pink spored thing that, you know, I guess I don't remember ever seeing it down New Jersey, but it's now too long ago for me for some things. Oh, and this snake. Just got a kick out of him. I almost stepped on him. It's on a boardwalk. Now this thing, I
Hey,
have
real
several.
quick, can we go back to the Entoloma and look at the stipe?
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a good picture of the base because it fell apart each time I tried to pick it.
I can zoom in on my screen, and it Entoloma vernum strictius, whatever we want to call these things. It's got that twisted stipe. And
Yeah.
it's Entoloma for sure. Probably vernum.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's time of year for it.
Yep.
And also the further into the summer, my entolomas look a little different. I do find strictius, and what's the other one? Oh, I forget. Trouble with some of this is you have to kind of relearn it each year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now this thing, I thought this was Gallerina marginata, but iNaturalist kept coming up with Conocybe. So I don't know as I'm going to call it anything.
Yeah. Marginalis, is that what they were calling it?
Yeah, yeah. Conocybe, oops, sorry, marginalis, which might have been Gallerina marginata. I can't keep up with the name changes, especially when they change the genus. But this was, you know, a pretty incredibly big, huge fruiting.
Yeah.
I was going down this path and there was just huge bunches. Oh, and this is the last thing I took. Some sort of Pisiza. I took a video of this and blew on it to see if it would poof out its spores, but I think it's already too old. And I think that's the last one I have. Yeah, it is. Yeah, sorry.
Nice.
Those are great.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, well, it's different things than what you're seeing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sarcosoma, happy to see. I want to see it every year.
No, do you?
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't see
They-
it doesn't occur down here,
I know, and like I said, there's one site that where I've counted over 100, and this would have been probably in the end of April when they can be out there 9 weeks. So I like to catch them as soon as I can. And it's a definite snow melt thing. And what I'm getting too old to bushwhack in there and until this bridge is fixed, to know whether the thing actually starts growing under the snow. I think that may be the case. And that would be very worth knowing. But I tried to check that last year and I think the year before, and we had gotten some, snow that's there and it takes a while to melt, and then the rain comes on top or melting, which makes a crust, which makes it nearly impossible to break through to see, even though I know the exact places where to look. There was just no way I could break the crust to get under there to see if they were growing, which is too bad. If I was 20 years younger, I might be able to do that, but still, it's so neat to see them. They're so weird.
Yeah, they're so weird. It's a bucket list fungi for me personally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Same.
I saw someone. I had a discussion with someone recently online about sarcosoma, and they indicated that people actually eat the gelatinous material inside.
Yeah, for
Is that true?
medicinal. I don't know, except that you had a couple of years ago, you had a Russian woman on this Taxonomy Tuesday, and she got all excited when she saw them because she knew of it in Russia as a highly sought after thing for edibility for some sort of medicinal property, which I don't remember what it was. But I thought, whoa, that's kind of strange. And I'll just tell you, Igor, when I sent you, were you ever able to get DNA out of that thing?
No, I didn't sequence it. It's still in my fridge though, in the original packaging.
I have one frozen that's
Wow.
from a couple years ago, still whole. I don't imagine it's viable for anything, but it would be. Look, I keep forgetting to take it to the Northeast or somewhere to show folks because it's at the wrong time of year. But I still
Frozen would
have.
not be a bad idea. It eventually kind of dries out because that's what refrigerators do. So if you keep it very, very cold, the water eventually will sublime.
Yeah,
And
this is not in a wax bag. It's in a plastic pot. I haven't looked at it for a while, so I ought to see what it looks like.
but yeah, I mean, if you kept it in your freezer, I don't think it would decompose. I mean, it's gonna
No, I don't
really,
think it would either.
no, it could still be viable.
Huh?
Yeah, and
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
it's completely theoretical that this could contain some sort of anti-freezing agent, much like
Yes.
calistoma might.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My original observations on the sarcosoma was that I couldn't believe that, I saw them the first week and the disc on top was small and this is now 10, 12 years ago, which is how long I've been tracking them in the exact same spots. But on the third week, it had snowed and they had all turned into little rocks. And then by the fourth week, it had warmed up and they started growing. They got bigger. And, some of them got this big and then they started to flatten out on top. And you know, I could blow across them and they would throw spores, and then they would still be out there 2 and 3 weeks later. It's the weirdest thing. Just so weird. Anyway, I get a big kick out of them.
Yeah, I like weird stuff too, and those are
Yeah.
chief among weird fungi.
Yeah.
So
And yet
it's cool.
they're listed as rare, but if you do an iNaturalist map of the world, it's all kind of circumboreal, and they seem to turn up in a lot of places. But I guess there's
but
Very
northern,
far north, though.
yeah, northern. It's got a northern distribution, right? It's
Very,
circumboreal.
very far
Yeah.
north.
yeah, they're not uncommon in Sweden and Finland and probably Norway,
That was
and Canada.
the person that I was having a conversation with was a Finnish lady, and she was the one that says in her area they do this process where they kind of soak them in sugar and then drain the liquid out from the interior, and they drink the liquid.
Oh wow!
Which
wow.
I mean, yeah.
Do you remember her name?
No. I can find
Well,
it. We I don't even know her name. We talked sometimes.
Well,
whose name?
In Finland, there's a mushroom dyer by the name of Suzanne Sundquist.
Oh, sorry.
Sundquist.
I thought you meant somebody in our club who liked these things.
No.
Russian lady, yeah.
Well, that was somebody in your club, and I don't remember her name at all.
Probably Svetlana.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Svetlana in our club, but this Finnish person, we just kind of converse sometimes online, and she knows her stuff. But I thought that was a cool anecdote when we were discussing these things, that they soak them in sugar. So it sounds like they kind of gummy the interior.
The interior is gummy.
Yeah.
It really is just like gray jello, only a little bit more runny. I don't pick them after the first year. My best picture is probably the one that will come up online with one of them split open. And once in a while I'll come across one that an animal has knocked over or has stepped on, and they just sort of collapse like a balloon almost, like jello, runny jello. Anyway, well, I'm glad I tuned in with you guys. It's been kind of fun. I'll have to do this again.
Yeah.
Please do.
Sure.
Now stuff is starting to come out slowly, and it should be a lot more interesting. The other thing for me is to get it downloaded to the computer so that I can put it up for you folks to see. But yeah, I should be having things that are maybe quite a lot different than what you have.
Yeah, please keep coming.
Yeah, well, I wish I could come and join you sometimes. I never did hear how was Ursula's mushroom dyeing workshop? Any of you participate?
Yeah, it was great.
Was it?
Exceeded expectations.
Really? Because you went last year too.
Yeah, I did. It was better this year even. So yep.
Was she at all organized?
A little more. Yep. So it was fun. Yeah. 8 students, and I don't know, I think we did 20 different things, maybe thereabouts.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Even did some tin morting. So, and
it was probably most of the day.
Yeah, I was almost 7:30 when I got home, and we started at 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a long day, but I think everybody really had fun. It was a good time.
Well, that's good. That's good. All of that's possible. It's just that, Ursula's a little discombobulated sometimes with stuff. And also, she's not a spring chicken.
Yeah,
like
I think
me.
she's gonna be 90 or
That's right. I think she already is 90.
maybe she is 90 now. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, she had all kinds of good stories of, pulling out dried mushrooms that she got in Norway in whatever, 1990 or 95 or something. And yeah, it was
1999, we were all in Norway.
okay.
She actually went overseas a lot more than I did, but she, like me, had been to most of the fungi fiber symposiums. The first one I missed was just this past January in the Canary Islands, but I'd been since 1993. I've been to every one.
Yeah,
That's where you really learn.
she missed this year as well. She said she couldn't find anybody to go with her.
Yeah, so it would have been a tough travel for me. I had
Winter
lot of
time is hard.
Yeah, for me to get out of the Adirondacks at that time of year is just not possible, really. It's
Yeah.
just not worth it. The other thing I was going to say, I think that the registration for the Northeast is going to open soon, and also the NAMA is going to be in Vermont, and I think that's opening tomorrow for registration. And for any of you who are really into fungi, I would definitely recommending going to either one or both of these big regional forays, the one being national, but you just get so exposed to so many more people and point of view, and the mycologists who are doing some of the work like this for identification and trying to make some sense out of this. And Igor will tell you there's nothing like standing with Roy Halling and Bill Ewell and being the third in the discussion for some of these boletes, and you really can contribute. And finally, the professionals have found out that the amateurs really can contribute because they're out there all the time. And you'll see more mushrooms in 4 days than you will see for the entire summer sometimes, if it's a good season. And everything for the 3.5 days is mushrooms, every aspect of mushrooms. So it's great.
Nice plug. Good. And
Well, it's how I learned.
yeah, 2026, we're one of the host clubs
Are you?
for the nymph. Yeah.
And do you have any idea where you're going to do it?
Probably Eastern PA. We've got a meeting tomorrow night.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Right.
years ago we had to do it in person. That was kind of a pain, but we did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
Mhm.
But we've been to East Stroudsburg twice, so
So,
well,
All
yeah,
right.
you can't.
Not this
can't
time
re-
though.
yeah.
Hmm?
It won't be this time. Strasbourg. Yeah.
No,
No, it's going to be a different location.
not yeah. Well, until you pin it down, you can't really tell.
Right.
There's so many little details that you have to figure out. So many. And part of it's a cooperation of the place and what they'll do for you for facilities and food and accommodations and
Yeah.
then the
A lot of variability in terms of willingness to work with you, different places we're finding. So it's interesting.
right. Right. And then they sort of, the trouble we had with Montalto in 2005 was that they promised us, certain rooms and things that we could use, and then all of a sudden we couldn't use those. A whole dormitory that was supposed to be air conditioned, that's being renovated or something. So they had to use one way up the hill, which was really hard for people to walk back and forth for all the other activities. So anyway, that's good luck.